opportunity to go to Medline Jewish Preschool, and now they attend Sunday school here. Our family has 3 generations, actually 4 if we include Jerry's father, of involvement with what we now call the Peltz Center for Jewish Life. Congratulations to the Rapoport family for building this community and for being here for all of us. You have enriched our lives.
Rabbi Rapoport has officiated at Jenny, our younger daughter and youngest child, bat mitzvah, Cassie's wedding, his first ever, as I recall, and Jenny's wedding. Our grandchildren have attended Rabbi's preschool. Actually, I have a question by the way. What in the world is preschool anyway? It seems to me that if you're in school, even at the age of 3, then you're in school. I mean, preschool is what you do after you wake up in the morning and get ready to go to real school, regardless of how old you are. Anyhow, I vividly remember standing on this property apparently about 20 years ago when I was president, really, and encouraging Rabbi Rapoport to go ahead with the proposed move from the famous Fox Point basement. Despite the reservations of many, I was virtually 100% committed to supporting the move. It never occurred to me, never, that it would fail, nor did it occur to me or anyone else the magnitude of success that it would become. I think I could go on for hours, especially with a few more drinks and another Ferguson. Or 2. But, you know, I think I keep this on the ready. But in closing, I would just like to make 2 very personal comments. First, although he's not Rapoport, but he is here somewhere, it was Rabbi Samuels who introduced me to Hasidus and spiritual orthodoxy, and without whom at least one of us, and perhaps many, would not be here. He's had an extraordinary influence on me and my family, mostly positive, and he should be recognized for his contributions.
secular synagogue for a number of years, my parents had grown disillusioned with the place. They felt there had to be something better out there, and were actively looking for somewhere else to pray and to send my siblings and myself to Hebrew school. A short walk to the mailbox provided the answer. A new shul building with a Hebrew school. Why not give it a shot? We became members of Agudas Achim Chabad, and my brother Aaron and myself were enrolled in the Hebrew school. The rest is history, right? Actually, kind of it was. My brother and I loved going to Hebrew school. Not only were we practicing our Hebrew reading like we did in our old school, but we were learning how to practice Judaism, how to daven, and learn what the Torah teaches. Barely any time went by before my family was invited to the Rabbi and Rebbetzin house for a Friday night dinner. Then the next week, we were at Rivki and Mati Spalter's house. The next week, we're at Moshe and Dini's house. This went on until Menachem and Hoodie arrived to break the cycle and add a fourth destination for our Friday night meals. Oh, those Friday nights. By now, it's pretty much a cliche to talk about the home-cooked meals, the singing, the family togetherness. But when you have never experienced Judaism in this way before, true Judaism, it is almost impossible to resist. Inspired by the Rapoports, my family became more observant and in tune with our age-old traditions. This inspiration led my family to take some major steps in our lives. The first major step occurred a few years after joining the shul. My parents decided to buy a Shabbos house, a couple doors down from the shul. Now, I don't know if the concept of a Shabbos house existed before this, but I don't think my parents would have any problem taking credit for the idea. While we lived in our regular house for 6 days a week, we all moved to the Shabbos house on Friday afternoon so that we would be able to walk to shul and properly observe the Sabbath. I saw how my parents, the first generation, were excited to take this upon themselves and begin to change their lives. They put my younger siblings into Jewish schools. I took these examples to heart while I continued to attend Hebrew school and study with the rabbi for my bar mitzvah. And these lessons were great, by the way, because what other bar mitzvah teacher gives their students cookies and donuts? All the while, I was still going to a public middle school. I always knew that I was Jewish, and took pride in celebrating my religion at home. And while I got along great with all my friends and classmates at school, I knew that I was somehow different. The Rapoports were the ones who showed me what it meant to be Jewish. It wasn't just an old religion in name alone, but a rich life that is still relevant today. This religion was mine. It was my birthright, and I wanted to know more about what I was all about. As the months of my middle school career began to wane, I began to think about taking another major step in my Jewish odyssey. Even though I was a good student and content in public school, I wanted to learn more about Yiddishkeit. So, at the ripe old age of 14, I left my home to go to a yeshiva in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I may have left Mequon, but I always felt that the shul was my home. All of the other Jewish communities that I've been to throughout the world are beautiful in their own way. But, and maybe it's because I'm biased, none were as special as the community that the Rapoports have built up over the last 30 years. You see, my story is not necessarily so unique when you examine the lives of all the other members of this shul and this community. Perhaps everyone has a different tale about how they met the Rapoports, but after that point, our stories are strikingly similar. We have all been touched by the Rapoports' approach to life. I feel the warmth of those original Friday nights every time I walk into this building because of the community that has been built. And you know what? I lied before when I said, I talked about having the Rapoport Friday night meal rotation. In reality, all of the other families of the shul were eager hosts of my family, and witnessing how regular Rapoport Rebbe to be lamplighters. Their influence is not only to inspire people once in a while, but rather to ignite their souls so that they too can be an inspiration for others. With the help of Hashem and the strong foundation I had from this shul, I was able to accomplish a few minor things, like actually becoming a rabbi myself, getting married to my wife Maggie, having our first son Joey, and graduating from college. Last year, I got into medical school in Milwaukee, and the opportunity arose for my family and I to return to Mequon from Los Angeles, where we had been living. This had secretly been a great desire of mine for a long time. After all, this community was still my home. I wanted my son to grow up in the same warm, inspirational environment that I had. I wanted him to go to Mequon Jewish Preschool and develop a strong Jewish foundation from a very early age. So finally, last August, we moved to Mequon and brought with us our son, the third generation of the Peltz family, to call this shul home. Things have even come full circle as I now have the privilege and pleasure to teach in the Hebrew school here, the same one that I benefited so much from when I was younger. I can confidently say that after 30 years, something is still happening in Mequon. The words emblazoned on that pamphlet still ring true today. After a tremendously successful first 30 years, I wish the Rapoport family, this shul, and this community another 30 years filled with even more blessing. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole Shutkin. I've been a part of the Mequon community ever since I was born in 1998, but my parents and grandparents have been there for much longer. My parents started looking for a house in 1997, 1 year before I was born. My parents became involved with the Mequon Chabad at that time. I am actually the third generation of the Shutkin family to become associated with Rabbi and Mrs. Rapoport and their dedication to bringing Jewish customs and practices to fellow Jews in the North Shore area. My papa, Jim Shutkin, and my grandmother, Harriet, first were introduced to the Rapoports through Rabbi Samuels and became one of the first families to become regulars at their show or house in Fox Point. I've been in the show for all I can remember, but some of my earliest memories for me is attending Mequon Jewish Preschool in the basement of the rabbi's home before the new show was built. I grew up every week looking forward to going to show on Shabbat and seeing all of my friends from the preschool and eventually my classmates from Hillel Academy. Although this might seem like an accident and coincidence, but it was part of a bigger picture. When my parents were pregnant with me, they were looking for a place to raise a family. They decided to buy a house in a neighborhood with a good school district. My grandfather has always known the Rapoports and suggested to my parents to talk to the
blessing from the Rebbe for our upcoming marriage. And the Rebbe said that you should bring light and warmth to other people, and the Almighty will bring light and warmth into your lives. And that was a very powerful and beautiful blessing that we have cherished ever since.
Established. They were pillars of the Crown Heights community, and they decided they wanted to go on shlichus because this is the life they want to lead.
Anyone who is a shliach would be a person or a couple that would choose that they want to go out and they want to represent the Rebbe in bringing Yiddishkeit to that part of the world.
9 children. I myself now. How do they do it?
Not these friends. They didn't know what hit happened. The Rebbe recently spoken again about going on a shlichus, and my Midani made a decision. That's it. They're going on shlichus.
One of the most happiest days of my life when we had the answer from the Rabbi that we are on a mission.